Have you ever just stopped and felt like the world is moving way too fast? Like the ground is constantly shifting right under your feet? Well, you're not alone. It feels like change isn't just happening anymore, it's speeding up. So the big question is, how do we find our footing when the world itself is in perpetual motion? That's exactly what we're going to get into today. So here's our game plan, drawing on the incredible work of Neale Donald Walsh. First, we'll tackle why life feels like it's on fast forward. Then, we'll uncover this amazing internal guidance system we all have. We're also going to demystify that famous phrase, you create your reality. After that, we'll look at the illusions that keep us feeling stuck. And finally, this is the best part. We'll talk about how to remember your own magic.
All right, so first up, why does everything feel like it's changing all the time? Well, Walsh has this brilliant concept he calls the window of non-changeability. It's basically the amount of time a person could reasonably expect things to stay the same. And what's really fascinating is just how much that window has been shrinking.
And wow, when you see it laid out like this, it's pretty wild. For our grandparents, life was stable for like half a century. For our parents, maybe 30 years. For many of us, big fundamental life changes can happen in just 7 to 10 years. For our kids, that window shrinks to just a couple of years. And their kids, they'll be living in a state of what Walsh calls instantaneity, where change is the only constant. So this isn't just about life moving faster, it's a completely different reality, which means we have to find our anchor somewhere else.
Okay, so if the outside world is in constant flux, where in the world do we find our direction? Well, that brings us to our inner anchor. The idea is that we're all born with an incredible guidance system, what Walsh calls the soul's internal GPS.
Just think about that for a second. Your soul already knows where you ultimately want to go. So every single event in your life, every twist, every turn, it's just a direction from that GPS. It's like it's saying, in 500 feet, turn right. From this point of view, you can't ever really be lost. You're just following the route your soul already mapped out, even if you hit a crazy traffic jam or take a detour you weren't expecting.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? This isn't some random, chaotic journey we're on. It suggests our lives have a purpose, one that we actually set in motion. And those unexpected detours, they're all part of a much bigger, meaningful path that's designed to get us exactly where we chose to go. So, if we all have this internal GPS, how do we get better at actually following it? Well, that leads us to one of the most powerful, but also one of the most misunderstood ideas out there. You create your own reality. A lot of people get tripped up by this one, so let's clear it up.
First things first, and this is so important, let's just let go of all the guilt. This idea does not mean you are personally to blame for terrible things that happen. You didn't create that car accident. You didn't manifest losing a loved one. That's a huge misunderstanding that heaps on a ton of unnecessary shame.
The real power here is in seeing the difference between two realities. You've got the exterior reality, that's what happens to you. It's the event, the circumstance. But then you have the interior reality, and that's how you experience it. We know this is true because two people can go through the exact same event and have totally different feelings about it. That little space between what happens and how you respond, that's where your creative power lives. And here is the absolute key takeaway. Real, lasting change always starts on the inside. When you make a conscious choice to shift your internal state, like deciding I'm not going to be a wimp at the dentist or pushing through a headache because that presentation is important, you change your experience of the moment. And by changing your experience first, you actually open the door to maybe changing the external situation down the road. So if we have all this power, what's stopping us from using it all the time? Well, according to Walsh, we're all running on a set of deep-seated beliefs he calls the 10 illusions of humans. You can think of these as the mental programs that kind of shape our struggles and keep us feeling powerless.
The whole idea here is that we basically live our lives based on 10 huge misunderstandings about how reality works. We mistake these illusions for the absolute truth, and in doing that, we end up creating our own suffering.
Let's just look at 4 of these to get a feel for how they operate. You've got the illusion of need, which tells us we're not whole. The illusion of failure, which paralyzes us with fear. The illusion of superiority, which separates us from each other. And the illusion of condemnation, which traps us in judgment and guilt. Just think for a second about how much of our daily anxiety comes from believing these ideas are real. According to Walsh, they're not, they're illusions.
And all of this brings us to the final and honestly, the most empowering idea of them all. Life is kind of like a magic show. And the big secret is, you're the magician. The only problem is, you've forgotten your own tricks. I mean, this metaphor is just so powerful. Can you imagine a magician who pulls a rabbit out of a hat and is genuinely shocked and amazed that it's there? That's us. We get so mesmerized by the illusions we've created, like the illusion of failure or the illusion of need, that we've completely forgotten that we're the ones performing the trick in the first place.
So how do we wake up and remember we're holding the magic wand? Walsh gives us a really simple 4-step process. First, just identify what illusion is causing you pain right now. Is it the fear of failure? The feeling of not having enough? Second, consciously say to yourself, okay, this is an illusion, not the absolute truth. Third, decide what you'd rather experience instead: peace, confidence, connection. And fourth, go ahead and create that inner experience for yourself, totally free from the illusion's grip.
And this right here is the ultimate reframe. This changes the entire game. The illusions aren't meant to be traps that we have to escape from. They are the very tools we were given to experience our own power to create. A magician uses tricks to create a sense of wonder and show their mastery. In the exact same way, we can learn to use these illusions to consciously create whatever experience of life we truly choose.
So, the question this leaves us with isn't about waiting for the world to slow down. It's about recognizing that you are the creator of your inner world. You're the magician performing the trick. And once you really know that, what reality will you create now?